So we've seen the first condition for the acceptance. What is it? An acceptance should be accepted by only the person to whom offer is made. Okay. And now we'll see the second condition, that acceptance must be absolute and unqualified. Absolute and unqualified means there should be no further conditions as such. Okay. It should be clear. So as per section 7 of the Act, so our section 7, yep, our section 7 of the Act says acceptance is valid only when it is absolute and unqualified, and it is also expressed in some usual and reasonable manner. Okay. Usual and reasonable manner in the sense, for example, in the offer, you people have agreed for that acceptance to be in written or something like that. It should be in that particular manner. Okay, if the proposal prescribes the manner, it should be accepted in that particular manner. So here, yesterday we've seen the concept of counter offer, if you remember. In case of counter offer, A agrees to sell for rupees 10 lakhs. If in case B says that I will accept the offer only for rupees 8 lakhs, then we said in case of counter offer, the original offer comes to lapse, and now this is the new offer which B made for 8 lakhs that comes into existence. So similarly, in case of acceptance, when there are conditions of this sort, it is not absolute and unqualified. This is kind of a qualified acceptance. Qualified acceptance is something which is made with the conditions. Okay, that's the example it's given here. And these conditions can be, for example, A sold a car to B, and B says I'll accept it, I'll take the car only when if you give me provided RC along with it. Requesting for RC is not a qualification as such. Okay, having a proper title for the car is very valid, so you can't call this as a qualified acceptance or something like that. It is a proper acceptance. Okay, because RC give a proper legal title or valid title to the car, so it's the having this condition is like a proper acceptance. It's not a qualified acceptance. Remember that. And then the third one is the acceptance must be communicated. Yes, without so communication plays a key role here. Without communicating your acceptance, how would the offerer get to know that you are ready to enter into a contract? So it's always important that you communicate that particular acceptance. Okay. Any conditional acceptance or acceptance varying or two deviant conditions is no acceptance. Yeah, conditional acceptance is the same thing that we have discussed here. Okay. So that's not an acceptance in case of a conditional acceptance. Further, when a proposal is accepted, the offeree, that is the accepting party, must have the knowledge of the offer made to him. Obviously, without having a knowledge of the offer, acceptance can be made. We've seen in the case of Lalma and Shukla versus that. So the servant has traced his missing nephew without even knowing there is a reward. In that case, he can't claim the reward money because he never knew what the offer is. Fine. So acceptance should be made only when you have a knowledge of the offer. So that's the point here. And here for this we have few case laws. We'll just take a look at that. It's Brogden versus Metropolitan Railway Company. So in this case laws, a supplier sent a draft agreement, but this particular railway company approved that on, it just signed as approved on that, but it never sent back that. This particular draft was put in their drawer. They never sent the acceptance back to the seller. So here, because the acceptance is not communicated, the contract does not come into existence. That was our first case law, Brogden versus Metropolitan Railway Company. Okay, and the second one is, they said M offered to sell his land to N for 280 euros. Okay, and what did the N do? He sent a euro 200 and he said he'll pay remaining in the installments. Okay, paying in, asking for payment in installments is fine. That is not a qualified acceptance. If he says I'll pay euro 200 now and will pay remaining 80 euros later, that is fine. That is not a conditional acceptance. But if in case N says that I will buy only for euro 200 but not euro 280, then that is conditional acceptance, and then it is not considered to be an acceptance. Okay. Just understand this thin line of difference. It's totally fine if you say I'll pay in installments, but if in case you are agreeing to the actual price, then it's totally fine. That is not a conditional acceptance. That is said in Neil versus Merit case. And in case of Union of India versus Bahulal case, it is said that A offers to sell his house to B for rupees 1 lakh. B said, I can pay 80,000 for it. This is again a case of counter offer, because the original offer was for 1 lakh, but B is saying I can pay only 80,000. So it's a counter offer. So the original offer is rejected. Okay, that was said in the Union of India versus Bahulal. Now, so in Bhagwandas versus Giridhari Lal case law, it is said that where an offer made by the intended offeree without the knowledge of an offer has been made cannot be deemed as acceptance. This is just like our Lalman Shukla versus that case law. Unless you know the offer, you cannot accept. Though you accept, that can't be considered as an acceptance. Okay, only after you have the knowledge of the offer, you can provide your acceptance for that. And mere variation in the language not involving any difference in substance would not be the acceptance ineffective. Okay, maybe there are different ways of communicating, right? So just by changing the words of that communication, but the essence is or the substance is the same, it just changing of the words or language will not make the acceptance ineffective. Okay, that is what is said in Hayworth versus Knight case law. So next we'll come to the mode. Acceptance must be in the prescribed mode. Yes, mode is that it can be made via telephone, telegram, email, anything. If in case you have in the agreement or in the offer made there is some prescribed mode. Suppose A sends a letter, and to give your acceptance he asks B to send back to send another letter giving your acceptance. So here the mode is already prescribed. So B should only send back his acceptance in the form of a letter, because A might be constantly checking on his letterbox, but he would not be checking her emails and other things for this particular reply. So that must be the case. When there is a prescribed mode said, you should give your acceptance in that particular mode. Okay. But if the proposer does not insist, for example, in this case, B has given his acceptance by an email. Luckily, A checked his email, and if he's okay with that, that is fine. But here, A has got a power to say I've requested for acceptance in the form of letter. I'm not okay with the email. Saying this, A can cancel that. So that's the power. When there's a prescribed mode, it's better you always send the acceptance in the prescribed mode rather than in an other mode, because when we send it in other mode, we are giving a chance for that A to get this cancel. So it's always better to send in the prescribed mode. When the mode of acceptance is prescribed, it must be accepted in that manner. But if the proposer does not insist, if the proposer